If you live in or plan to visit the great state of South Carolina and you find yourself anywhere near the Myrtle Beach area, you owe it to yourself to check out Mr. Clippers at Heads Up Cuts and Styles Barbershop and Salon, located at 110 El Bethel Road in the big city of Conway, South Carolina. I'm talking about the place where great staff, great atmosphere, and professionalism all come together. Yes, it's definitely a vibe. We service all ages and all hair types. To book an appointment, just head on over to mrclippers.booksy.com. Again, that's mrclippers.booksy.com. You can check out my work, you can check cost of services, and most importantly, check out those reviews. Man, I'm telling you, 5 stars. Listen, as a licensed professional barber with over 20 years of experience, this is what I do. You owe it to yourself to get the look that you want, the sharpness and the precision, just like you want it. Come on by Heads Up Barbershop and Salon and check out Mr. Clippers. It will be my pleasure to give you the service that you deserve.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had an awesome week. I had a great week. It just, as usual, it was kind of like a blur. I went to sleep on Sunday and woke up, it was Friday. But here we are, and we are safe, and we are healthy, and we are good. We are blessed. And so, as usual, LTAR is bringing you some of the most interesting and thought-provoking and boss-like folk that we can. Tonight is no different. Tonight we welcome Miss Kendra Berry. She is the CEO and the founder of the Berry Center, and we're gonna talk about that and see what that's all about. When I was doing my research and I was, just surfing, and I came across her profile and her page, I couldn't help but go in and see what she was talking about. And then I had to reach out. And so here we are. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Berry, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, Miss Berry, you have the floor.
Hey, hello everybody. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me on. This is a great way to kick off 2023. So I definitely appreciate you opening up your platform and allowing me to come on and share some things. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Kendra Berry. I am the CEO and founder of the Berry Center Home and Family Services. I work with individuals with intellectual disabilities and their family. I've been doing this for almost 18 years. I started at 22. I started at the age, no, was it 20? Yeah, I started at the age of 22. And it's just something that I fell in love with. I grew up around in a giving community. I come from a small community, Surrey County, best place ever to me. It's a small community, but it was more so of like a village. And it's a place where everybody knows everybody. So I was able to grow up in a loving community. I grew up in a family that was close-knit, that helped. I just wanted to do something that was important. I wanted to do something that would make a difference in the lives of others. And I'm a nurturer at heart. I grew up that way. I saw, when I thought about, and coming on tonight, I was thinking about, how did this really start for me? And it started from what I saw growing up. I saw both of my grandmothers take care of their siblings when they got sick, of their sick parents. I had a great aunt named Janie, and we used to go all around the community late at night. I'm like, Aunt Janie, you going to knock on these people's houses at 9 o'clock at night? She's, yeah, come on. I'm 11 and 10 years old, and she's taking people food or whatever it was that she needed. So the nurturer and the giving part of me, the seed was planted then. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, I would go and visit one of my aunts at a part-time job that she had at a place called Zuni Presbyterian Homes. And that was a group home for people with intellectual disabilities.
Mhm.
She and another cousin of mine, they worked there. So I saw how wonderful it was to work with these individuals. Society will say they have a disability.
Mhm.
That's not how I take it. I take it that they just need a little bit extra support, a little bit extra compassion in some things. And it really made me want to go into this type of career when I started working there part time.
Mhm.
And there was a young lady there that was my age that required support with something as simple as brushing her teeth.
Wow.
And it did something to me on the inside. I was like, wow, this could be me. She's my age and this is what she requires, and I can go and do it freely. So that was like the turning point for me. So with the Berry Center, I continue to, throughout school, throughout college, I continue to find jobs in that area.
Mhm.
And then I got connected with two people who are now my lifelong mentors, Lawrence and Tawana Gosen. I told them they can't get rid of me. That's my husband. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to be professional, Mike. I'm trying to be professional. And this is what you gotta love them. You gotta love them.
Right.
Anyway, I got connected with Lawrence and Tawana Golson around 2009. And the one thing about it, when you get connected with visionaries, you're going to have a vision. And they didn't just look at me as an employee or someone that they gave a job to. They told me I was going to have business
Wow.
and made me set a date. Came in, I had to do a PowerPoint presentation for them.
Wow.
But that was a great experience
Mhm.
because it made me create.
Right.
And in that creating, they just helped me and they continue to help me to this day, which is why the Berry Center is here. And with the Berry Center, our goal is to be an extension of families to the families that we serve. Raising an individual or having an individual in your home that has intellectual disabilities is a lot of responsibility. I have 5 kids. My husband and I
Wow.
have 5 kids. That was a lot. So when you have a child with special needs, that's almost like 10 times that.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it, you have an individual that may have a hard time displaying how they feel, telling you that they don't feel good, telling you that something is hurting, and you're trying to figure out how to get in their world,
Right.
and you don't really know.
Mm.
So what I wanted to do with the Berry Center is not just service that individual, but also be an extended form of support for the family. And that's exactly what we have done. I have 2 individuals with my agency that I've worked with for 13 years.
Mm.
And that's success to me,
Yeah.
the consistency part of it. And just to see sometimes the families always say, you're our angel, but I don't view it that way. I'm so grateful that they trusted me enough to allow me to work with their person, to work with
Right.
their child, to work with their loved one.
Absolutely.
So that is basically what we do. We try to be an extension of support for the families. And in 2023, we are really expanding into different things. One of the things that we are expanding into, we're working on our nonprofit called the Spencer Miles Club.
Mhm.
This is just going to be an organization that's going to allow families the information and the resources that they need to get additional support, like the Medicaid waiver and
Mhm.
all of those things. Because what I've come to find is a lot of families don't even know where to begin, and they get certain services while their child is in school. And then once that child reaches I think in the state of Virginia, I think it's the age of 21 and they have to leave school, they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do next?
Right.
So our vision is to help them with those resources, help them get the things that they need, learn the information, learn the system, learn what, they kind of have at their hands so that they can relieve some stress so that the individual can go out and live a productive life and just have success. They deserve to enjoy life just like you and I deserve to enjoy life. They deserve to have friends just like you and I have
Right.
friends.
Right.
So that has been my ultimate goal always, is just to provide families with that additional support, connect them with the resources that they need, and, be there to answer any questions that they may have.
Wow. You said a mouthful.
And
You
you know
actually
what?
answered a few of the questions that I,
I'm sorry, my
but
husband tell me I talk too much sometimes.
no, you're fine. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, I believe that's really an awesome mantle to carry. I mean, my hat goes off to you.
Thank you.
Um, I was gonna ask you how it all began, but you just kind of gave a little background to that already.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this. What's heavier? The challenge for you to stay even keeled within yourself and your family and your dynamic, or the challenge of being an effective servant in your business? Or do they kind of equal each other out, if that makes sense?
I've blended, well, I've been blessed because I've been able to blend the two. My husband is a great support to what I do in this
Mhm.
business. My husband knows my clients. I think my clients like him better than they like me. I have one client that, if we're on the phone, I have to let him talk to my husband because he's my best friend.
Wow.
So, and my children, what was very important to me was I wanted my kids to be comfortable around individuals with intellectual disabilities. I didn't want them to be nervous. I didn't want them to say, be scared or anything, because the reality of that is that's how some people look at
Right,
individuals
right.
but I never wanted my children to do that. So we talked to our children. My children had the opportunity to interact with some of my clients, and that was to the point where they love them. I really believe that any one of my kids, if they decided to go into the human service field or work at a group home, that they would do great. But my children have big hearts anyway, all of
Hmm.
them. They're very kind people, very loving people. But it was very important to me that they understood my work, that they understood that we still show them love, even though it may look as if they are a little different.
Right.
And my clients love the kids. I told you, I think they love Justin and the kids more than they love me. So I do, I really do. It was a blessing to be able to blend the two
Hmm.
and to blend it so good. The families that I work with now, I kind of consider them my family.
Right.
Um, and it's been great. So for that part, it really wasn't a challenge. I think I will say maybe the challenge for me has been when to shut it off.
Okay.
When to shut it off. Because I've come home, my husband will be like, okay, you're not at work right now.
Right.
You know, hit the switch.
Right.
And I'm like,
And
okay.
that's one of the things I was going to bring up with you. It's like, how do you how do you balance that? Not bringing your work home with you.
It's
Is that a something that is a daily challenge, or have you mastered? Have you got a system that works for you that
I'm
allows you to be
learning
able to function?
I'm learning how to master that now. I celebrated my 40th birthday in November. And let me tell
Okay.
you, when they tell you when you hit 40, something clicks, it
Yeah.
clicks. And so I have learned how to have more me time.
Mhm.
I have learned how to go home and turn it off. I'm learning how to say no to some things, because if not, I would run myself ragged. At one point, it was as if I was working 7 days a week.
Hmm.
Um, so I will have to be honest and say I am now learning how to balance it.
Hmm.
My kids are older. Like, matter of fact, my son turned 23 today.
Wow.
So say happy birthday to my son, Krishan. Um, he turned, so my kids are older and they're off and they're learning and doing their own thing. So that kind of hit me with, well, I have to learn how to do my own thing now too.
Right. That's a
So
fact.
exactly. So I am learning how to do. I'm having more girlfriend trips, uh, more appointments to get my hair done and get my
Right.
nails done, and just more me time. So I just really began to learn that probably a few months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how you kind of, when you get into the whole groove of raising a family without even trying, you kind of lose a sense of self because you're serving. You're
Constantly.
serving, and that becomes normal.
It does.
You go from self-care all the time
Yeah.
to
I'm
constantly
serving.
serving. You're
Yeah.
serving your kids. You're
Yeah.
serving at work. You're serving in your marriage. You're serving at your church. If you go to church, if you're serving whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so, I get it. I totally understand.
You hit the note. You hit that on the nail, because that has basically been my house. Because my husband is a minister, so
Oh, wow. Okay.
we were all either at church, at work, and it was brought to our attention by a good friend of ours. She's like, "Y'all are always on the go," and we literally are. And then my
Hmm.
mentor mentioning me, I was telling her what everybody else was doing, even my clients, what the kids were doing. She said, "Okay, so what are you going to do for you?" And
Right.
I couldn't answer her.
Right.
That really made me say, okay, I do need to kind of slow down and learn how to balance it all out, even though there's still more work for me to do. Because I'm not finished yet. I'm nowhere near finished. I'm really just beginning.
Right.
Uh, but the balance key, and I kind of thank God for that, because for what I'm going and walking into in this next season, I have to have balance. I have
That's a
to
fact.
have balance. Yeah.
I feel like in a kind of a funny way, I think that, to my point earlier, we become cheerleaders for everybody else.
Yeah.
Somebody goes on a vacation, you're like, yay, so and so went on a vacation.
Yeah.
Somebody gets a new job. Oh, yay, somebody got a new job and a raise, and or somebody bought a new house or a new car, or they having a baby, or
Yeah.
you become cheerleaders and you forget how to be in the game because you're cheering for
Cheering
everybody else.
everybody on. You're
You
cheering
know,
everybody
I,
on.
I
You're
get
motivating. And see, that's another part of another business that I own. I'm a life coach.
mm,
So, and I am the type of life coach. I am an innovator. I'm a mentor. I'm a motivational life coach. So I'm always cheering people on. I'm
right.
always, you can do it. Well, let's do it this way. No, don't tell me what you can't do. So I'm always on in that area too.
Mm,
And it's hard.
right. Right.
It's really hard to shut it off, but you have to learn how to rest. I don't even maybe don't want to use the term shut it off, but you have to learn how to at least pause it to just
Right. Right.
yeah.
What would you say if you had to name one thing? What throughout your process, if you had to name one thing, what's one thing that you've learned that you didn't necessarily know prior to going in to becoming a business owner and becoming this cheerleader and this life coach and things of that nature? What did you learn about yourself that you might not have known prior to? That what's the biggest thing?
I believe the biggest thing that I learned was that it's okay to fail.
Mm,
Because as a quote unquote successful business owner, you're going to fail sometimes. And I don't even want to say fail. I want to say there'll be mishaps
hmm
that you learn from. So
Okay.
there are mishaps that come to maybe help you learn a new level of success.
Right.
You know, we have the idea of what success is according to society.
hmm
I no longer measure my success by that. And here's what I mean by that. I don't measure my success by how much money I have in the bank because I don't have millions of dollars in the bank from this.
Right.
The reality of it is most people who work in this field, they don't make a lot of money, but they put out a lot of work. That's just
Right.
the truth.
Right.
Um, I measure my success by the increase of productivity with my clients.
Mm,
I had a young man, one of the clients that I worked with for years, who at one point it was difficult for him to go into a store. He wouldn't want to go into a store. Now we're Target freaks. We go to Target almost every day.
right.
He loves to go on dinner dates. It was difficult for him to go into a restaurant at one point. I have, a client who struggles. It's hard to understand what he's saying verbally. But if I turn on CC Winans on the radio, he can sing every word. So those things are what makes me feel like I'm successful. I don't have to have a lot of money in the bank
Right.
to know that, you know. So I've become more in tune to it's okay to have mishaps. You learn from them and then you keep on moving.
Right.
I we get so caught up in being afraid to fail until sometimes we're afraid to try.
Right.
And it causes us to freeze up.
hmm
And that was me. That's what I learned about myself. That really was because growing up, it just seems like I did everything pretty good. I laugh at my grandmother all the time. Can't believe I'm about to say this, but they call me Kiki.
hmm
And shit, my grandmother would say, "Oh, I know Kiki will do it. Kiki know how to fix it. Kendra knows how to get it." And I love that she trusts me.
Right.
But sometimes that's like, oh, that's a lot of pressure, grandma. I can't do everything.
Right.
So I had to become comfortable with learning. Okay, no, I can't do it. I just learn from it. Somebody will figure it out. Maybe they'll help me figure it out.
Mm.
So I would say that that's what I learned about myself. I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. I got an unusual request. Is your husband nearby?
Yes,
Can he come on stream real quick?
sure. Come on. See, even you starting to like him more now.
No, I just you just made me think of a question.
Okay.
Mr. Barry, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see your wife,
Mm-hmm.
the love of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a successful business owner. She is a life coach,
Mm-hmm.
and she serves and she puts out fires. She's a troubleshooter. She, you know, this is her business every single day. Now, my question for you is, okay, is it a challenge for you as being the man of the house, so to speak, and the prophet, priest, and king of your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a challenge for you to be in marriage with someone who has conditioned herself to be, in essence, you in her businesses?
um, that has been a past challenge that we have had to get over, because as a business owner, you do have to be that. You do have to be the boss. You do have to be everything to everybody. So, like she said earlier, sometimes she did have to come home, and I had to tell her, "Okay, come on now. I'm not one of the clients."
Right, right,
You know,
Say that all the time.
right.
she was a psychology major. So in times that we would have conversations or arguments or whatever the case, the marriage talk,
Mhm.
I would have to tell her, don't put me on the couch. Don't put me
Right,
on the couch. Just talk to me regular,
right.
But it was a learning experience. It was something that we had to get used to. But I will say, it can be hard to turn that off for her,
Mhm.
because once you get into that mode, it's kind of like a kid when they have sugar. It's hard to get them out of that sugar mode, being bouncing off the walls and everything. You just have to make them go take a nap or let them play it out.
Right,
But I think now in our and in the way that we are now in the season of our life, her being able to take the trips, her being able to go and do something for herself, whatever it is, whatever is needed, it does help.
Yeah.
It does make a big difference in the household, and it brings everything back into balance.
Mm-hmm.
awesome. When she was just when she was speaking, that question just kind of came into my mind, and so I just had to I had to kind of
Absolutely.
get your take on it together.
Absolutely.
Miss Kendra,
Yeah.
how do you see that? Like, what would you say, um, being the business owner and all that? What's the biggest thing that it has helped you to enhance your marriage from your perspective?
I had to learn that I can't be in control of everything. I come from a long lineage of independent women,
Strong Black queens.
strong Black women who run the house, are successful in their businesses, take care of things. They taught me how to be strong. Like my mother, I always pick with her and say, my youngest brother, you love the boys more than you love me. I know she loves us all equally. But my mother she knows I have her spirit in a sense. My mother's a very strong person. She'll be sick and she's like, "Don't say you're sick. If you say you're sick and you think you're sick, you're gonna be sick." And
Right,
I'm like, but mom, you are sick. you need to sit down. So just the strength. And I saw my mother work. My mother still works. And when she works hard, I saw my grandmother, both of my grandmothers work. I saw all of my aunts, go to school, get their education and work, and they were bosses. They handled their business.
right,
So that's what I was taught to be growing up. Even my father, I have two younger brothers, but one thing I always tell people is that if our parents told us to go outside, flap our arms, and we'll fly, we're going to do that because
right,
that's just,
right,
they instill that in us that we could do anything that we put our mind
right,
to. Don't even question it. Like, you don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. So I had to learn that in my home, I had to pipe. Not that he was telling me I couldn't do it, but I had to learn I didn't have to be strong in my home to
mhm,
that point. Like I didn't have to make everything perfect at home and perfect in the world. Like I was telling you before, um, I thought if I didn't do everything, then I was failing.
right,
I will say that Justin has helped me understand that concept a lot. I say, you don't have to do everything. I can cook. You don't have to come from work, come home, cook. You don't
Right.
have to do that. Just tell me
Right.
what you want me to cook.
Right.
So that was something that really helped me. And I did not want to give that up. I want to do everything. I wanted to do the food. I wanted to take the kids where they needed to go. No, I got it. I got it. Cause I thought that's what a wife did.
Right.
That was my role.
Not to cut you off, but let's go there. Spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
how was it a challenge for you to navigate everything that you're doing and that you have to do versus the spirituality of things? And what I mean by that is how you were just saying how you felt like at certain points you had to cook and you had to do because you feel like that was the woman's place or that was
Yeah.
your job. And so is it a challenge to kind of like not reinvent them, but kind of dispel some of those traditional church norms versus what you're actually trying to do?
I had to detox. I had to detox. Not that I believe the things that I was taught was wrong, but we're in a different season of life. We're in
Mhm.
a different decade. Things are different now.
Mhm.
So I had to kind of detox some of those thoughts and theories and realize that I had to do what would work with me, my partner, and my house.
Right.
And in doing that, I had to learn who I was to the core. I had to accept that just because I didn't come home and cook a meal that night doesn't mean it didn't mean I wasn't a good wife.
Right.
Or if I was too tired to maybe take the kids somewhere, it doesn't mean that I wasn't a good mom. It just means I was tired.
Right.
It just means that I don't
Right.
want to cook. I mean, I was too tired. I was tired. And so that goes back to what we spoke about balancing. So I kind of had to detox from things that may have been said before, uh, from our aunts and, older people.
Hmm.
You take
Hmm.
care. I'm from the country, so
Right.
I'm used to watching my grandma cook and put the plate in front of my granddaddy. He didn't move, do nothing. He just sat there and ate the food.
Right. Right.
So I had to detox that. I don't necessarily have to put a plate in front of him. Like a lot of times he brings the plate to me. So it was
Mm.
really just revamping and making things our own and making sure that it fit for our house. Because me being strong willed and everything, it was a little bit of a challenge in our marriage in the beginning.
Hmm.
And us growing from that and being able to communicate effectively about that. And him saying to me, I don't want you to be on all night. I'm not your client.
Right.
So you don't have to talk to me like I don't understand the words coming out your mouth.
Right. Right.
And so,
Right.
yeah, because I
Right.
mean, but it was on. It wasn't me trying to be disrespectful to him or talk down to him or anything. It was just that's the nature of what I do every day. I always tell people, I remember early on, he couldn't understand sometimes why when I came home, I went straight to the room. I didn't want nobody to talk to me.
Hmm.
Hey, how y'all doing? Give me a minute. But when you work in this field, you're constantly thinking, not just for yourself, but for your client and for the next person, because you have to be prepared in case you have a client that has a meltdown in the store.
Mm.
And then you have someone that may not understand that that's what's going on,
Hmm.
and they're ready to call the police on you or
Right.
your client. So
Right.
I have to think, okay, how am I going to do this? Or what to do, or how to pay attention to my client to see if they are escalating or if they're about to have an anxiety attack. Okay, let me move him or her from this environment. I
Hmm.
brought up Target. I do take my clients to Target. But guess what? Because it's a safe place for them. They know how to maneuver and they know how to get out. I know how to get out in case anything pops off. So
Mm,
a lot of times me coming home and going straight to the room was just me saying, you
right,
know, I
right.
have a lot of people laugh at me because at night I watch Family Guy or Bob's Burger. I have to detox.
That's a fact.
And
Everybody got their
that's
own
what helps
stuff, but yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what
Absolutely.
helps me to detox from the reality of what I go through or what I have to stay prepared for during the day. Yeah.
Wow. That is truly awesome. And again, I really take my hat off to you because, if I'm being honest, I, you know, have had situations where I've been in the presence of people who have special needs and was like on eggshells because I don't know exactly what to say or what to do. If I do this, will I set them off? If I do that, what I'm saying? Is that the wrong thing? It's kind of like, it's almost like being in a foreign country, almost like you don't know the custom.
Yeah.
Um,
And they
but
feel that way about you.
wow.
They feel that way about you. And that's another part of the education component that comes from our agency. We just had a situation. I love the families that I work with. Some of my clients are adults in age, but cognitively, they may be 10 or 11. So they
Mhm.
like what a 10-year-old and 11-year-old does. And there was a museum that my client wanted to go to, and they wouldn't allow him in because of his age. But
Mhm.
his family advocated for him. And they connected me with the director of that museum. And I had to explain to them that this is what he likes, this is what he does.
Mhm.
And if we are going to treat everybody the same, then he should be. They wouldn't allow him to come in if he didn't have a younger kid. It was a children's museum. So
Ah,
they wouldn't allow him to come in if he didn't have a child with him. But why? So guess what? They changed their policy.
wow. Wow.
And that's great. His family advocated for him. His family said, I understand your policy, but this is what we have. He deserves to have the same privileges, and here's why. And then the director said to me, she said, no one has ever broken it down to me that way, the way that you have explained it to me, why it is important that they come. You
Right.
know,
Wow.
they have individuals with intellectual disabilities have so many restrictions that they put on themselves and then what society puts on them.
Mm,
And that's a hard thing to live through. That's
right.
a very hard thing to live through. But when you meet them, you just like, why was I nervous?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not too different from you or I. You know what I'm saying? We all have um certain insecurities
That's right.
that we may or may not share or we may not be transparent about. And then it's like when we get around others, you know what I'm saying, that may be our worst fear that
All
one
right.
day that shortcoming or that insecurity might make itself, what I'm saying, known, however, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not that much different at all. Um, Going forth, um, the Berry Center,
Mm-hmm.
if you could have it your way, what what would you see the Berry Center being going forward? Like if you could map out the blueprint, and you can actually, but if you could map out the blueprint for the Berry Center and everything that it represents, um, what would be your best vision of what it could be? Like, is it something that is centralized to just this area, or is this something that you would hope to franchise? to
Oh,
be
we
in
want to go
other.
global, honey. We want to go global. The perfect vision, what I would love to see is to have centers like literally all across the United States. I want to have, like, my husband is from Illinois, and we had a
My
family
wife is from
member.
Illinois as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a family member that has a special needs child, and she's just asking different questions.
Mhm.
And it just seemed that the questions she were asking, I could like give answers quickly. She's like,
Mhm.
nobody ever said that to me. Nobody ever told me that. And I was like, oh, let's go open one in Illinois. Let's go back to Rockford and open one there. I would love to see the Berry Center be at least in each state. And
Wow.
here's why. Because I would love for it to be a place where people get the knowledge that they need. And ultimately, I would love it to be a place it's called the Berry Center Homes and Family Services, because eventually I want to have like apartment complexes for
Mm,
individuals who now live with their families. But everyone gets older, and one day their family members may not be able to take care of them, or there may
right.
not be anyone in line to take care of them. I would love for a family member to know I don't have to worry about my child if something happens to me. Like they have a safe place to go. Like I would love to have it where they could still have the comfort that they grew up in. Like if they live in their home,
Mhm.
but just have it where they have the support team in their own home, to still make sure that they get everything done that they need to get done. They go to their doctor's appointments, they're living healthy, eating healthy, all of those things. But for their families to feel safe in knowing, okay, my Kendra got my kid, or the Berry Center, they're taking care of my child. I would love to have something like that. And I would also love to have day supports, where the individuals can come, and not quote unquote like a babysitting service,
Right.
but they can just grow, and we can bring out the best in them, their creativity and things
Mhm.
like that. That's what I see when I think about the Berry Center.
Wow. Wow. Um, wow. Um, so in and of itself, the Berry Center, what makes no, let me ask a different question. Is there a network um that you deal with? What I guess what I'm asking is how is how is that culture? Do you do you work hand in hand with other organizations, or
No,
is it more of a self
no,
um
no,
independent island type of thing? I mean, what's the networking like? Is it hard to network and collaborate
no,
in that whole
not for me, because I'm connected with the right people.
Mhm.
You know, I work as an independent contractor with a great agency. If you know anyone looking for supportive in-home services, check me out at FAMAT Services. I
Okay.
work as, shameless plug, but I work as their case coordinator. And then I have a friend who has another supportive in-home agency called In His Hands, Victory Whitaker. So we all will come together to do Christmas parties for the clients, sweetheart dance for the clients. We don't fight against each other. We collaborate with each other. I've learned FAMAT Services was the agency that I worked with, where I met my mentors.
Mhm.
So I would never compete against them. I've learned so much from them. You know,
Right.
if there's a client that I have that I know I can service, I'm gonna send them to FAMAT or to In His Hands, because I know they'll be able to do it, and I know it's a quality agency, I know they're going to receive everything that they need. And if it's a client that they feel may be a better fit for my agency, I know that they would do the same for me. So it's a lot of people who need care. There's no room for competition. We all need to work together to make sure that these individuals get service and they get what they need.
Mm. How has COVID affected your business? How, and I hate to call it that because I think the word business sounds so detached from what you actually do. But how has COVID affected, your whole process?
COVID, I still work through COVID because my clients still need to be, some of my clients live on their own. They don't have family.
Mhm.
So they still needed my care. But I still work through COVID. The hardest thing about COVID with me when it first happened is I got COVID. And
Mm.
that was horrible. And then I lost a client to COVID. So
Wow.
that was rough. That was the first client I had ever lost.
Mhm.
But as far as working, we still worked because our clients still had to be serviced. And so it was more so, it wasn't hard. Well, if you are an agency that follow rules, the cleanliness of everything, sanitation, I'm sorry, and wearing of gloves and masks, deep cleaning, we do that anyway. We have to
Right.
because a lot of our clients have different medical issues. So we
Mhm.
have to like make sure the homes are clean, and have those things available. So really that part wasn't anything out of the norm for us.
Mhm.
What was the hardest part was for the individuals that are used to going out into the community, having to explain to them, well, we can't go. Well, why can't I go in? Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's for your safety, but I feel safe. I have you, so that probably was a hard part. Just trying to explain that to them
Mhm.
and just making sure that they were safe. That was probably one of the hardest parts of COVID. But as far as like working, we continue to work. Now the hard part now is trying to get people to work.
Okay.
That's the hard part.
Okay.
Is trying to get people to work. But we didn't really lose business through COVID.
Okay. Okay. So more personal.
Hmm.
Um, what would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
That I mean,
Mm.
I have a stern face. But if you knew my dad, you would understand. You knew I'm my father with a wig on.
Wow. Wow.
And my dad is stock football coach, very serious. Like it's funny because when he laughs, because my father rarely laughs,
Yeah.
it make the whole house laugh because he gets into his laugh.
Right.
But we're just kind of like serious people. So some people would be like, "She looks so mean." I've had people say to Jeff, because my husband is the life of the party. He doesn't know a stranger. You
Right.
lock him in a closet and he'll make a friend.
Okay.
So a lot of misconception is your wife mean. He has to tell people she's really not. She's really a nut. Y'all think I'm funny. She's funny.
Yeah.
But I'm a person. I scope my room first, and I
Right.
don't like really open up myself up to people that I really don't know. Like I gotta get
Right.
to know you for know me. So it's okay that you think I'm me. But I
Right.
would say that that's probably the biggest misconception because I'm not mean. I'm probably one of the kindest people you'll ever. I'm no nonsense, but I'm pretty nice.
Okay. So on the flip side of that, what would people be surprised to know about you?
That I'm goofy.
That you what?
I'm goofy.
Oh, okay.
That's a side that only like my family, especially when I get around my brothers. Like, that's it's therapeutic, but I am kind of, I like to have fun. I like to enjoy life. I love to laugh. I definitely love to laugh. And so a lot of people don't see that side of me unless they're really close to me. So yeah, that's
Okay.
my.
Okay. Your spirituality.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about how your faith uh plays into everything that you're everything that you're doing. You put in you said that your husband, you alluded to the fact that your husband was in the ministry.
Mhm.
Um, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about your ministry. Like, you know, where do you go? Who's your,
Oh, my
uh,
pastor is the Dwight Sherrod Riddick II of St. Paul.
okay.
St. Mark. Lord, edit that part out. St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church. St.
Terrible.
Mark. Look, I went to work today, so I'm a little tired.
Okay.
St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church in Portsmouth, Virginia. We're there with Pastor Dwight Sherrod Riddick and First Lady Janelle Riddick, whom we absolutely adore. We love them. We've learned so much from them. They're great friends of ours. They're great leaders. Um, Definitely motivators, and they're gonna push you to the greatness. But they're also two people who will really lend an open hand to help with whatever it is that you need, and supportive of everything. As far as my spirituality, I'm from the country. All I know is church. Grew up in the church. My parents had us in the church. My parents didn't have us in the church. My grandmother had me in the church. If my grandmother didn't have me in church, my aunts had me in the church, you know? And so I know that none of this, I don't even really look at my business as a business, kind of like what you said before. It's ministry work for me. This is my passion. This is what I know God put me here to do, because there, honestly, with a background in psychology, there are a lot of different things that I could be doing. This is what I love to do. You know, I this is where I'm my happiest. Um, and my faith is deep. Uh, I couldn't do anything if I didn't have faith. I could not. I couldn't function properly because there are some days where it's just rough. But what keeps me going is knowing that tomorrow is going to be better. Not hoping that tomorrow is going to be better, but knowing that because God loves me. I always tell people I'm God's favorite. I don't know about y'all, but I'm God's favorite. So I know
Right.
that He loves me. I know that He has me. I know that, trials and tribulations come. He never said that we will walk this earth without trials and tribulations. What He said is that we will get through it, and we'll get through it with Him.
That's a fact.
So that's what motivates me. That's what lets me know that despite of how it may look, I just posted today, no matter how it looks or how it sounds or how it feels, trust God.
Mm,
I've seen God work. I've seen God move in areas that I'm like, how in the world did that get there? I've just seen Him do miraculous things. And there's nothing that could get me to turn away from Him. There's nothing that could ever stop the love that I have for God in my heart.
wow. Wow. Oh, I received that. That's awesome. Um,
Got me up here preaching.
yes. Now, usually at the end of an interview, I asked all my guests the same question,
Mhm.
but you actually answered the question in your opening statement. I usually ask a person, um, what would have to happen in their life if it hasn't happened already for them to consider their life a success? What does success look like to them? Well, you kind of already answered that in the way in the beginning. So I'm going to switch it up for this time. After all that we've talked about, after all that you've expressed here on this platform tonight, this evening, who are you?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me find out. That's a good one. Who am I? I'm still discovering that part.
Mm.
I actually, and it's, thank you, Lord, confirmation. I'm learning so many different things about myself. I am learning how to not be so hard on myself and how to just love me for me. I would say that Kendra Danielle Berry is a person who loves their family, loves the work that she does, love her friends, and who really just wants to make a change in the world by showing people an extension of love.
Mm.
Uh, and letting people know that no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how uncomfortable it gets, it will always get better. That it will always get better. You know, you can have your moments. You know, I'm not going to be one of those people who just, I don't smile all the time. You know, you probably got the most smiles out of me in a long time.
Okay.
But it just has to get better. You know, the longer we live, the longer we go through life, it's going to get better. That's just what I want people to know, that
Right.
no matter the situation that you're in at the moment, it's going to get better. So that's who I feel I am. I'm an optimist. I want to just show people that it's going to get better. It's going to be okay, you know, and that you're loved. That's sometimes why I don't like people to feel like I'm mean, because I really do love to love on people, and I love hard.
Right.
So I feel that Kendra is just a loving person who really just want to see people do well and be in a position to help in any way that I can to help you become a better version of you.
Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome. If somebody watched this interview and wanted to get some advice, or maybe they're trying to enter into the same field, maybe they're trying to start their own berry center, um, or their own version of,
That own version of them. It's
right, their
only one.
own their own version of the berry center. By the way, just a side note. Shout out to Lisa McLean. She goes to my church.
Mhm.
Y'all could be sisters. Y'all could be sisters. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at you, and I'm like, golly, she looks like Elder Lisa. But anyway, if somebody was watching this interview
Mhm.
and wanted to get in touch with you, like I said, to kind of sharpen their iron, so to speak, how could they get in touch with you?
Okay, they can email me presently at kberry.
Y'all do look like sisters.
I'm sorry. My producer gonna be kicked out of my next interview because this is too much. Kberry at theberrycenter.org. That's email. And then you can follow me on Facebook, Kendra D. Berry or Kendra Berry. And then I'm also on Instagram at K Danielle. It's K Danielle Berry, right? You can follow me on Instagram at K Danielle. Um, my my website is this is how our house is, Mike. See, you getting the raw footage. This
Listen,
is how our house is. It's
okay.
no filter at all. Um, our website is still under construction, but the website is theberrycenter.org. But feel free to follow me on Facebook. Feel free to follow me on Instagram or email me in any way that I can help you. I'll help.
Send a comment.
Awesome.
And my producer just informed me it's in the comments.
Yes, yes, he did. Yes.
Good job.
Well, Miss Kendra, I really want to thank you for coming on and being as transparent as you have been. I know that I've learned a lot, and I know that the people that are watching probably, if they know you, they've learned a little bit more about you. And if they didn't know you before, now they know you now.
Now they
So
know.
you did a great work tonight, sister. Um, Again, I want to thank you. Are there any is there any final word that you want to leave with the people at all?
Well, let me thank you for opening up your platform to me. Thank you so much. That was so
No
kind.
problem.
Because I really appreciate you for doing that, and blessings to you and what you have going on here. And so this is absolutely amazing. Um, if I could leave any final words to the people who are watching in the audience today, I would just say trust God. Just trust God. Uh, you would have never told me. I'm supposed to be a guidance counselor in the school right now.
Wow.
You would have never told me I would have been an entrepreneur moving in this field. When I went to Hampton, I was set on being a pediatrician. Then it went to a guidance counselor. I'm not doing either one of them. So, we can say what we want to do, but God always puts us on the path where we need to be. So if I could say anything, let God direct your path. Trust him in it. It may not make sense to you, but you better believe it makes all the sense to him. And that's what
Absolutely.
counts. And to
Absolutely.
do something that you love and you're passionate about, and I guarantee you every reward that he has stored for you in the heavens you will receive.
Wow. I think that well, no, I know that it is important, and I tell everybody that I have on here that are in your position, that even outside of what you actually do in your chosen profession, I don't know if you realize how truly important you being in the position that you're in is to our community.
Oh,
And
wow.
what I mean by that, by our community, is people of color, minorities, however you want feel to characterize them. Because a lot of times, our younger generation, they just don't see the alternative. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Culture, media tells us that we have to um, present ourselves in a certain way in order to appear successful or appear well adjusted. And so we chase after the things that we think will bring us to that.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not always, right, right. And as my sister told me one day, she said, everything that's legal
Hmm.
ain't moral.
No, not at all.
So um I I don't know if you realize how important just the fact that you are an example that somebody can point to and say, okay, well, because you're a person of color or whatever, you can only do this. You're the person that we can point to and say, she's doing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so I want to tell you that but what you probably already know, but the position that you hold and the position that you're standing in is one that is important even past what you actually do in it. Just by virtue of you being it is
Wow.
is a great, it's empowering to anyone who desires to do anything that is beneficial to the community or to the culture of the community. And so, again, with that, I truly respect you and your family and your whole team, because it's, we don't, that's what this platform is partly about, highlighting that for people who may or may not have the platforms or the abilities or the teams or the sponsorships to be put out there for everybody to see. And I have made it my personal agenda or mission to help in that process. And so, not to talk you to death, I want to tell you that I
Oh,
truly respect what you do and who you are.
thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I needed to hear that. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If
So,
I
and
could,
go ahead.
I just want to shout out because I want to, if I don't do it, I feel like I'll be a horrible person. I have to shout out my two best buddies, Miles and Spencer. Those are my two clients. So if they're watching this with their families, hey, Miles. Hey, Spencer. And I couldn't do a tenth of what I do without their family support. So I would love to shout out the Owens family and the Harris family because they are great people and they make my job easy. They make me happy to do what I do. And so much love to the Owens and the Harris family. And if you guys follow me on Facebook, Spencer is doing the polar plunge this year. Look it up. Spencer Owens, go donate to his page, please, so that he can go in the water.
Okay,
But
awesome.
thank you, Mike. I just appreciate you for this platform, and I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see how you're gonna blow up. Already.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, think things have been like really changing up for me just in the last few days, and so you saying that just really is confirmation to what's going on. I want
Yes, I'm
to.
gonna blow you up. I'm sharing everything for you. I'm blow you up. Everybody gonna know about you.
I appreciate that. I want to. I want to shout out. I want to shout out your family, in particular your husband. I thank him for coming on and being so gracious to me, and again for allowing you or lending you to me, to us, to the platform, for the sake of educating and empowering and then hopefully encouraging everybody that chooses to watch it live or in the playback or what have you. I
Thank
want to
you,
send
boo.
I want to send a special thanks to them, to him and all of your children. Um,
Because they were very quiet. Even my four-legged child, he's been very quiet. He's gonna have to get a treat.
nice. Well, again, I thank you for coming on, and I will not hold you any longer. I wish you many, many blessings on everything that you have going on currently and anything that you have going on moving forward. I pray that he continues to give you vision, and continues to give you provision
Thank you.
and resource and connection and
Yeah.
networking so that everything that he has for you to do will be done in your lifetime.
Thank you. We'll stay connected. We're gonna stay
Yes,
connected.
absolutely. This is definitely not the last interview that we will have. We will definitely have
Yes.
more.
Yes,
So
excited. But thank you so much. I enjoyed being on this platform with you tonight.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, Again, you have a great night and a
Yeah.
great rest of the weekend, and we will speak very, very soon.
All right. Have a good one. Good night, everybody.
Good night. there you have it, guys. Another awesome interview with an awesome guest. I want to shout out again the whole Berry family. Very powerful, very educational, very inspiring. One of the greatest abilities that we have is the ability to help one another. It's a choice. It's a sacrifice. It's a labor of true, love. We take a moment from our life to enhance others' lives. And listen, there's no greater feeling than being a part of success, even if it's not your own personal. I love this platform. I love this this position that God has allowed me to be in. And I thank God for every guest, every person that chooses to watch, whether it's live or in a playback, every every encouraging word, every dollar sold, every blessing, everything. I'm just grateful for it. And as usual, I encourage everybody, if you have a dream, if you have a vision that keeps you up at night, if you have something that you truly believe that God has placed within you to do, I encourage you now to take the step. Write it down, make it plain, call who you need to call, write who you need to write. Create what you need to create. If it's a movie, if it's a book, if it's a song, if it's a degree, if it's whatever, a business plan. We need you. We need you. There's a song that I love by a young lady named Nakia Marie. It's called "You Are Necessary." Please check that out on YouTube. Check it out on anywhere you buy music, man. And it speaks to that. Nakia Marie is called "You Are Necessary." You need to check that song out. I'm telling you, it will bless you. And so that's what I'm telling you guys now. You are necessary. So whatever God has placed within you to do, like the Nike motto, just do it. For all the things all the vision, He will provide provision if you just step out. Sometimes we try to outthink God, and we say, well, I can't do this because I don't have XYZ. And the only way that I can get XYZ is this way or that way. But God doesn't operate that way. So just obey. And as Miss Kendra said in her interview, trust God. Just trust God. Trust God. I don't know where this platform is going to go, but I just feel like I'm being obedient to what God is leading me to do. So therefore, whatever's meant, whatever God means for it to be, it will be. And I am a vessel. I am merely a vessel. So with that being said, you guys have an awesome weekend. I will be on here tomorrow night. So please tune in tomorrow night where I'll have another awesome guest. That being said, man, y'all have an awesome night, and let's take a walk.
If you live in or plan to visit the great state of South Carolina and you find yourself anywhere near the Myrtle Beach area, you owe it to yourself to check out Mr. Clippers at Heads Up Cuts and Styles Barbershop and Salon, located at 110 El Bethel Road in the big city of Conway, South Carolina. I'm talking about the place where great staff, great atmosphere, and professionalism all come together. Yes, it's definitely a vibe. We service all ages and all hair types. To book an appointment, just head on over to mrclippers.booksy.com mrclippers.booksy.com. Again, that's mrclippers.booksy.com. You can check out my work. You can check cost of services. And most importantly, check out those reviews. Man, I'm telling you, 5 stars. Listen, as a licensed professional barber with over 20 years of experience, this is what I do. You owe it to yourself to get the look that you want, the sharpness and the precision, just like you want it. Come on by Heads Up Barbershop and Salon and check out Mr. Clippers. It will be my pleasure to give you the service that you deserve.